Hold on to your seats, baseball fans, because we're about to talk about what might go down as the most underrated signing of the entire offseason. While everyone was busy obsessing over Kyle Tucker, Bo Bichette, and Cody Bellinger, the Toronto Blue Jays quietly pulled off a move that could make every other team in Major League Baseball look absolutely foolish. We're talking about Kazuma Okamoto, the Japanese slugger who just signed a 4-year, $60 million deal with Toronto, and I'm here to tell you right now that this contract is going to look like highway robbery by the time we get to the All-Star break. This isn't just another international signing that might pan out. This is a legitimate superstar from the NPB who's about to show the entire baseball world what they missed out on. And the Blue Jays are going to be laughing all the way to the postseason. What's up, everybody? If you're a diehard Blue Jays fan, if you follow international baseball, or if you just love a good underdog story that's about to turn into a superstar breakout, you are in exactly the right place right now. Today, we're diving deep into why Kazuma Okamoto, who some people are already calling Big Oak, is positioned to become one of the biggest revelations of the 2026 season. And trust me, by the time we're done breaking this down, you're going to be just as excited as I am about what this man is going to bring to Toronto. So make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And let's get into why every team that passed on Okamoto is going to be kicking themselves all season long. Let's start with some context that's absolutely crucial to understanding just how perfect this signing is for the Blue Jays. Toronto just came off a World Series appearance. Yeah, you heard that right. They went all the way to the Fall Classic. And one of the biggest reasons they got there was because of a complete transformation in their offensive approach. Under hitting coach David Pines, the Blue Jays adopted a philosophy that prioritized putting up pesky at-bats, making contact, getting on base, and not giving pitchers easy outs. And you know what? It worked spectacularly. During the regular season, the Blue Jays led all of Major League Baseball in batting average and on-base percentage. Number 1. In the entire league. That's not a small accomplishment, folks. That's a systematic approach to hitting that created a consistent, dangerous offensive attack that opposing pitchers absolutely dreaded facing. But here's where it gets interesting. And here's where Kazuma Okamoto enters the picture as the missing piece of the puzzle. Despite leading the league in those crucial offensive categories, the Blue Jays had one glaring weakness in their attack: power, home runs. The ability to change a game with one swing of the bat. Sure, they ranked 11th in Major League Baseball in home runs, which isn't terrible by any means, but there was a lot of inconsistency. They'd go through stretches where they were hitting the ball out of the park regularly, and then they'd have weeks where they couldn't buy a home run to save their lives. For a team with championship aspirations, that kind of inconsistency in the power department can be the difference between winning it all and going home disappointed. Enter Kazuma Okamoto. And let me tell you something right now. This isn't some project player who might develop into something useful down the line. This isn't a lottery ticket that might pay off if everything breaks perfectly. This is a proven, established superstar from one of the best baseball leagues in the world outside of Major League Baseball. We're talking about a guy who absolutely dominated Nippon professional baseball for years, putting up numbers that make your jaw drop and doing it with remarkable consistency that should have every scout in baseball drooling over what he can do. Let's talk about his track record in Japan, because this is where you really start to understand just how special Okamoto is. Since 2018, this man has been an absolute machine. Year after year, season after season, he's produced quality slash lines that any major league team would be thrilled to have from one of their middle of the order bats. We're talking about ops numbers consistently in the low to high 800s, with several seasons where he pushed into the 900s. For those of you who might not be completely fluent in advanced statistics, let me put that in perspective. An ops of 800 is considered very good in Major League Baseball. An ops of 900 puts you in elite company with the best hitters in the game. Okamoto was doing this year after year in the NPB, which tells you this wasn't a fluke or a hot streak. This was genuine, sustainable offensive excellence. But how was he producing those incredible on-base plus slugging numbers? Well, it's right there in the name. He got on base at an elite rate, and he absolutely crushed the baseball when he made contact. When Okamoto was being advertised to free agent teams this winter, scouts and executives were talking about him primarily as a contact hitter and an on-base machine. And while that's absolutely true and represents a huge part of his value, it actually undersells what makes him truly special. Because yeah, He makes contact and gets on base at an elite level. But this dude can also absolutely launch baseballs into orbit when he connects. In a full season in Nippon professional baseball, Kazuma Okamoto was averaging somewhere between 30 and 40 home runs. Let me repeat that because it's so important. 30 to 40 home runs per season. That's not just good power. That's elite, middle of the order, franchise cornerstone type power. And it wasn't like he was padding his stats by feasting on weak pitching in a minor league or facing journeymen who couldn't get anyone out. Okamoto was hitting home runs off some of the best pitchers in Japanese baseball, guys who Blue Jays fans are very familiar with at this point. You know the name Roki Sasaki, right? The phenom pitcher who everyone in Major League Baseball has been salivating over. The guy with electric stuff who looks like he's going to be a future ace in the big leagues? Yeah, Okamoto hit home runs off him. How about Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the pitcher who just signed a massive contract with the Dodgers and is expected to be one of the best starters in baseball? Okamoto took him deep too. We're not talking about some guy who was crushing mediocre pitching and making his numbers look better than they actually were. We're talking about a hitter who was going toe-to-toe with the absolute best arms Japanese baseball had to offer and consistently coming out on top. And these incredible results aren't just the product of good old-fashioned baseball instinct and talent. The advanced metrics back up everything we're seeing in the traditional stats. Okamoto's Ops Plus, which adjusts on base plus slugging for league and park factors to give you a true measure of how much better or worse a hitter is compared to average, was in the 100th percentile in the NPB last year. The 100th percentile. That means literally nobody in the league was better than him by that measure. That's the kind of elite production that simply doesn't grow on trees. And it's exactly why the Blue Jays should be absolutely thrilled they were able to lock him up for just $60 million over 4 years. Now, I know what some of you skeptics out there are thinking right now. You're thinking, okay, but Japanese baseball isn't Major League Baseball. There's going to be an adjustment period. The pitching is better, the competition is tougher, and not every NPB star has translated seamlessly to success in the big leagues. And you know what? You're absolutely right to think that way. History has shown us that while many Japanese players come over and star in MLB, it's not automatic. There's usually some kind of learning curve as they adjust to different styles of pitching, different strike zones, different travel schedules, and just the general adjustment to life in North America. But here's where the Okamoto situation gets really interesting. And here's where I think the downside risk is way smaller than people realize. Even if we assume there's going to be some drop-off in his production as he adjusts to Major League Baseball, even if we build in a conservative estimate that accounts for the learning curve and the challenges of transitioning leagues, he's still going to be an incredibly valuable player. Let me break down the math for you in a way that should get every Blue Jays fan excited. Asterisk, if Okamoto was averaging 30 to 40 home runs per season in Japan, and we assume he's going to hit 10 fewer home runs in his first year adjusting to MLB pitching, what does that give us? A 20 to 30 home run hitter. Do you know how many Blue Jays players hit more than 20 home runs last season? Not many. Finding a guy who can give you consistent 25 to 30 home run power while also providing all the other skills that Okamoto brings to the table is incredibly difficult and incredibly valuable. And remember, we're talking about a worst-case scenario here where his power numbers drop significantly. If he adjusts well and the drop-off is smaller than we're projecting, we could be looking at a 30-plus home run season right out of the gate. But power is only part of what makes Okamoto such an exciting addition to this Blue Jays roster. Remember how we talked about Toronto's offensive philosophy under David Popkins? That focus on pesky at-bats, making contact, getting on base, and not giving away outs with strikeouts. Well, it turns out Kazuma Okamoto already lives and breathes that exact philosophy. It's like he was custom-built in a laboratory specifically to fit what the Blue Jays want to do offensively. The match between player and team philosophy couldn't be more perfect if you tried to design it. Not that way on purpose. Let's look at the numbers that illustrate this beautiful fit. Okamoto's walk percentage last season was in the 90th percentile. That means he's drawing walks at an elite rate, showing exceptional plate discipline and the ability to lay off pitches outside the strike zone. When you combine that with his power, you're getting a hitter who opposing pitchers have to attack carefully. They can't just throw junk and hope he chases because he's going to take his walks and get on base. But if they come into the zone and make a mistake, he's going to make them pay by driving the ball with authority. His strikeout rate was in the 93rd percentile, which means he's striking out less than 93% of hitters in the league. In an era where strikeouts have exploded and teams are more willing than ever to accept high strikeout rates in exchange for power, having a guy who combines legitimate home run pop with elite contact skills is genuinely rare and genuinely valuable. You're not getting a three-stroke comes hitter who's going to walk, strike out, or hit a home run and not much else. You're getting a complete hitter who can hurt you in multiple ways. And how does Okamoto produce those low strikeout numbers while still generating power? By making an absolutely absurd amount of contact. His zone contact rate, which measures the percentage of pitches in the strike zone that he's able to put the bat on, was 90% last year. 90%! Think about how difficult it is to make contact with 90% of strikes you see. That requires exceptional hand-eye coordination, bat control, and the ability to recognize pitches early and adjust your swing accordingly to put that number in perspective relative to his new teammates. Let's compare it to some Blue Jays hitters. Ernie Clement, who's known as an excellent contact hitter, had a zone contact percentage of 93% last year. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., one of the best hitters in all of baseball and the cornerstone of the Blue Jays franchise, had a zone contact rate of 84%. So, Okamoto's contact ability is right in line with one of the best contact hitters on the team. It's actually better than the team's superstar. Again, we have to acknowledge that there will probably be some drop-off as he adjusts to Major League pitching. But these numbers tell you that he's starting from such a high baseline that even with regression, he's still going to be an excellent contact hitter by MLB standards. The combination of all these skills, the ability to get on base at an elite level, the contact skills that prevent him from giving away outs, and the legitimate power that can change games with one swing, all point to a player who's going to find success in Major League Baseball. He's not a one-dimensional player who needs everything to break perfectly to be useful. He's a well-rounded hitter with multiple ways to contribute, and those are the kinds of players who tend to succeed even when there's an adjustment period. The Blue Jays desperately need what Okamoto brings, especially after losing Bo Bichette to the New York Mets. Bichette was known as a great contact hitter with a bit of power, a guy who could put the ball in play consistently and drive in runs when the team needed him to. Now, the Blue Jays aren't asking Okamoto to immediately step in and become Bo Bichette. They're not asking him to replace everything Bichette provided over his years in Toronto. They're asking him to be Kazuma Okamoto, to put up those pesky at-bats that fit the team's philosophy, and to create offense through his combination of contact, power, and on-base ability. If he can do that, and all the evidence suggests he can, he's going to be an incredibly valuable addition to this lineup. Think about how Okamoto fits into the Blue Jays batting order. You could slot him into the middle of the lineup where his power can do maximum damage. You could bat him second to get him more at-bats over the course of the season. You could move him around depending on matchups and who else is in the lineup. The versatility he provides from a lineup construction standpoint is really valuable for a manager. He's trying to optimize his offense over 162 games, and let's not forget the contract. For years, and $60 million for a player of this caliber is an absolute steal in today's market. We're seeing average Major League players getting contracts that approach or exceed those numbers. We're watching teams hand out nine-figure deals to players with significant question marks. And here are the Blue Jays getting a proven superstar from one of the best leagues in the world for just $15 million per year. If Okamoto produces anywhere close to what his track record suggests he's capable of, this contract is going to look like one of the best value signings in recent memory. Big Oak is an exciting player to watch, folks. He's got the kind of skill set that makes for must-see television. When he steps into the box, you know something good could happen. He might work a 10-pitch at-bat and draw a walk to get on base. He might slap a single up the middle to keep a rally going. Or he might absolutely crush a ball 450 feet and give the crowd something to go absolutely crazy about. That versatility, that ability to beat you in multiple ways, is what makes great hitters truly special. For Blue Jays fans who've been frustrated by some of the misses this offseason, who've been disappointed by watching stars leave and big-name free agents sign elsewhere, Kazuma Okamoto represents something to be genuinely excited about. This is a player who chose Toronto, who's going to wear the Blue Jays uniform with pride, and who has all the tools to become a fan favorite very quickly. When he hits his first home run at Rogers Center and the crowd goes wild, when he comes through with a clutch hit in a big moment, when he shows that he belongs on this stage, It's going to be an incredible moment for everyone who's been supporting this team through the ups and downs. I genuinely believe that by the time we get to the All-Star break, people are going to be talking about Kazuma Okamoto as one of the biggest breakout candidates in all of baseball. The talent is there, the track record is there, the fit with the team's philosophy is there, and the opportunity is there. Everything is lined up perfectly for him to come in and make an immediate impact. And when that happens, when he's putting up big numbers and helping the Blue Jays win games, every other team in baseball is going to be asking themselves how they let this guy slip through their fingers. The fact that more teams weren't aggressively pursuing Okamoto is honestly baffling when you look at what he brings to the table. Maybe they were scared off by the adjustment period. Maybe they didn't do their homework on just how good he was in Japan. Maybe they were too focused on the bigger name free agents to pay attention to what was happening with international signings. Whatever the reason, their loss is Toronto's gain. And Blue Jays fans should be thrilled that their front office was smart enough and aggressive enough to get this deal done, so buckle up, Blue Jays Nation, because the Kazuma Okamoto era is about to begin. And it's going to be one heck of a ride. This is a player who has all the tools to become a cornerstone of this franchise for years to come. At 29 years old, he's entering his prime years. He's motivated to prove he can succeed at the highest level. And he's joining a team that's built to maximize his strengths and help him thrive. The stage is set for something special to happen. Alright folks, that's the complete breakdown of why Kazuma Okamoto is going to be one of the most exciting players to watch this season, and why the Blue Jays absolutely hit a home run with this signing. If you enjoyed this deep dive and you're now as pumped as I am about Big Oak, do me a huge favor and smash that like button right now. It helps the algorithm tremendously and ensures more baseball fans get to see this content. And drop a comment down below telling me what you think about Okamoto. Do you think he's going to hit 25 home runs in his first season? 30 more? What are your expectations for his batting average and on-base percentage? I want to hear all your predictions and hot takes. Asterisk, and if you're not already subscribed to this channel, you need to fix that immediately. We're bringing you daily Blue Jays news, analysis, breakdowns, and everything you need to stay on top of your favorite team. Spring training is right around the corner. The regular season is approaching fast, and you don't want to miss a single update. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being part of this incredible community of passionate Blue Jays fans. And thank you for your support. Let's all get ready to watch Kazuma Okamoto show the world what he can do. As always, go Jays, and I'll see you in the next video.